and welcome to the Insurtech Study Podcast, the platform to spread knowledge on insurance innovation, digital disruption, and entrepreneurship. Our website, insurtechstudy.com, and we are available on Spotify, Apple, and Google. Today, we will discuss on the topic bank assurance, opportunities, and challenges in the digital age. And for now, I'm delighted to welcome our guest, Sonali Verma, who is the head of digital bank assurance at Manulife Asia. In her current role at Manulife Financial for Asia, Sonali is responsible for creating and consolidating experience frameworks across the bank assurance business. This includes building next in class large insurers' digital experience infrastructure across Asia by leveraging innovation principles, analytics, and insight, and setting and driving key performance indicators. Sonali is also responsible for a Manulife Joint Fund, Technology and Innovation Fund. Prior to joining Manulife, she worked at Citibank Singapore for almost 9 years. She launched and led a key initiative where her team embedded the client excellence philosophy across Citibank Singapore. During her tenure, Citibank was ranked number one in the category of CSI-SG, an index compiled by the Singapore government to gauge client satisfaction scores across various industries. Sonali has over 20 years of rich experience in digital transformation and viability, organizational operations, services excellence, and technology evaluation. She has worked in leadership and senior management roles with large global organizations, helping them in identifying and developing appropriate digital solutions for improving client impacting metric. Sonali, a warm welcome to the show. What a rich experience.
Thank you, Surya, and it is a pleasure to be here. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Sonali. Moving on to today's topic that is on bank assurance, which is also an area of your expertise. How can bank assurance providers balance the interest of their banking and insurance customers while also maintaining profitability? What is your views on this?
The two things go hand in hand. Bank assurance is a very, very profitable business.
Right.
Anyway, I mean, it is not either or. Simply because some of the economic factors uh, work beautifully in favor of bank assurance. So it's the strength of a bank and the strength of an insurance company that comes together, and
Mhm.
together they create a win-win formula for firstly for the customers, for the shareholders, and also for the internal employees. So it's really one of the true rare win-win combinations in the corporate world that
Right.
definitely makes money and creates for extremely satisfying and rich experiences for customers and customers. So as a business, it has all the ingredients of being successful.
Right. Bank assurance as we know it, uh, it is how a beautifully insurance and the banking services came together to benefit the end users. And of course, in the insurance world, we are seeing it as a new disruption in the market, a new way how technology can bring benefits to both the end users. Can you explain our listeners, our audiences, a bit on this concept and how exactly it is making difference in the market? Just off the track a bit.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, Surya, and that really takes us to basics, right? Somehow,
Yeah, yeah.
as practitioners, we take it for granted. But essentially, let me just talk about bank assurance as a way of doing business, right? So bank assurance essentially means insurance company, whether it is exclusive or an open platform, but one insurance company or multiple insurance companies create solutions, financial solutions for the end customer, and then distribute it through the bank network. So the bank channel can be the branches, the relationship managers, service managers. So the large distribution network that a bank has,
Right.
insurance gets introduced as a product and solution with those banks. Now,
Mm-hmm.
of late in Asia specifically, and that's not something that North America sees or Australia sees, but or even Europe, it's a little bit still limited. But Asia has caught on big time on exclusive deals as well, which means that a bank will have exclusive partnership with one insurance company, and the solutions would be exclusively from that insurance company. Now, one can argue the pros and cons, but just if I can spend 1 minute on that, the pros are really because a deep dive into customers' needs and customers' financial analysis can be done with one solid partner who would then provide solutions that are more bespoke and more tailored for that customer segment rather
Right.
than a lot of manufacturers just trying to put things on the shelf. So that has benefited Asian customers across various markets in since in the last 10-15 years. Now, cutting to the digital bank assurance. So the next step is really how do we leverage the digital assets of the bank to provide solutions to the customer. So these are your internet banking, mobile banking platforms, which, by the way, if you were to aggregate the traffic of major banks in Asia,
Mm-hmm.
the insurers do not enjoy those kind of traffic. I mean, think about it. When did you last go to your insurer's website? All of us would struggle, even me. So, but when did you last go to your bank's website, or the mobile app? The answer would be this morning, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
uh, so if we want to make the insurance, which includes, by the way, protection, retirement, savings, investment, all types of solutions that really cater to different life stages of a customer. So
Mm-hmm.
if we want to make these solutions really front and center for the customers, and the customers to be comfortable analyzing these, assessing them, seeing whether they fit their budget and their lifestyle or not, and to kind of play around with them without having to engage with an agent or a relationship manager. And in a large population of these customers, bank customers, they don't even have an RM. I mean, even if they want to get in touch with somebody, they probably have to walk to a branch. So if we can equip these solutions on the digital assets of the bank, that gives us a 15 times more reach than the traditional bank assurance would. And for the bank, it what it provides for them is a holistic suite of solutions, not just a credit card or a mortgage or a bespoke investment, but really something that talks to their customers holistically across their entire financial needs. So that's the digital bank assurance play here, where we are really fulfilling a gap, which and it's a big gap which existed in the market,
Mm-hmm.
where these customers who which is a very inside out way of describing them, but really the mass and emerging affluent customers who do not have, and these can be first jobbers, or customers who are just starting off a new family, or have just graduated and are looking for financial solutions. They don't necessarily have advisors attached to them. So this is a very cost-effective, all-pervasive way of presenting solutions which the customers can start experimenting with. So that's the whole digital bank assurance and why it has taken off in a big way. Uh, and yeah, I mean the opportunities are immense for us to service our customers.
Yes, interesting concept. I know it's, of course, the emerging technologies are actually giving more opportunities, and how insurers can use them with various insurtechs together hand in hand. But coming together with another, traditionally functioned industry to actually reinvent the process is actually very interesting. And that brings me to the second question. Of course, insurance and banking both are like, heavily regulated one, right? So, what are the key regulatory challenges faced by bank assurance providers, and how they stay compliant while still offering innovative products and services? This kind of very, out of curiosity, and how regulations can shape this space.
Again, a good question, Surya. You're right. I mean, but let's just look at it from multiple lenses, right? So, banks themselves are heavily regulated, insurance companies are heavily regulated. technology has its own, usually in any country's regulation setup, technology would have its own set of regulation, right? Whether it is to say whether your platforms are robust enough such that there are, customers' data is not compromised, or
Yeah.
there is enough security such that all types of your basic hacking tools don't start to play there. So it's a, and plus you're dealing with customers' money. So clearly there is, we can't shy away from that regulatory framework. um, and more often than not, it is the core of the business here is trust. So any little breach can then spiral into something that none of us want. So the regulation framework is 100% needed, and it has to be adhered to. The good thing in some of the markets, though, is, and these are very advanced markets, is that the regulators themselves are providing support and providing guidance and the flexibility to say, in like, for example, a sandbox environment, right? To
Yeah.
say, okay, if we can experiment and see whether this will work or not, and then and we do this with friendly advised customers, and then we scale it if it is successful. So it has to be approached with caution, and that's why I think that's one of the reasons why the digital bank assurance, uh, only Manulife is doing it at scale. The rest are finding it a little bit more difficult because it will take time, effort, and more importantly, money to get those technologies in, and we have invested in the next generation platforms. You will need to be patient, and you will need the highest level of support and endorsement to keep it going, such that you reach that scale where the technology is robust, customers are secure, and while at the same time giving the experience of, say, 3 clicks and buy, and making sure that your
Yeah.
policies are instantly incepted and delivered to your email. You are instantly underwriting, and just taking up 2 3 questions only instead of 40 odd questions to declare your health, and then you're ready to buy a product. But at the back end, some very heavy duty technology intervention is happening to make that experience seamless.
Yeah.
And clearly we have to work hand in hand with the regulators, and sometimes reinvent, or it's completely blue sky, right? So we have to really think it through along with the regulator teams to say that, okay, how can we make this work for our customers? Because at the end of the day, you're making these solutions available for the customers who were underserved in the past. And I think that's a lens that even the regulators take, and are willing to help out with environments like the sandbox.
True. You know, talking about the regulatory part, I mean, in Asia, or rather Southeast Asian markets, where do you think are the major regulations that are actually already in place to help bank assurance, come up, or rather help the insurance industry come up with innovations in this segment?
So the first port of call is the insurers being allowed to put solutions on the bank's digital platform, which would mean that clearly approvals have to be taken on. Uh, the banks have to take their own approvals, and insurers have
Hmm.
to take their own approvals, and at times be jointly in the room together. But really, both sides have to suffice and fulfill their regulatory requirements and answer all those fair questions that come through, saying how robust is the platform, how much
Right.
testing has been done, etc. And once that is done, then the acceptability of allowing these solutions to be on the digital platform is the first step. And I think I don't know of any country where this has not been allowed if we've managed to demonstrate the robustness of the platform and the bank's willingness also to go past their regulators and fulfill all the requirements at their end. So overall, I think if a long answer short is that one would have to make sure that both sides regulation are fulfilled.
Hmm.
There is no specific digital bank assurance regulation as yet that I'm aware of. So both sides regulation, both as a business risk, as regulatory risk, and technology risks, all those have to be, and that's why digital bank assurance becomes more difficult, because technology risks also have to be taken and make sure that one is taking care of them. But once you have that robustness of the environment, then putting more and more solutions out there to help the customers then becomes relatively easier.
Right. Yeah, I think it's not as straightforward as it seems to be. And by the way, congratulations to you and your team to driving this so well and leading in the industry. That's a massive milestone.
Thank you, Surya.
So Sonali, the last point for today that I would like to discuss with you is, in a rapidly evolving market, how can bank assurance providers stay ahead of the competition and continue to offer relevant, high quality products and services to their customers?
So clearly, I mean, one has to stay relevant, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
if there is Insurtech out there who can do things faster, cheaper, and more secure, they will win. So in it, the key word here is rapidly evolving. So
yeah.
that the pulse of that rapid evolution has to be kept in mind. Honestly, I don't think insurers are considered the leaders in any industry for being the breakaway group that does new and innovative stuff. Insurers traditionally have been one of the last adapters, adopters of new generation of technologies. Not for lack of trying, it's just that the solution sets themselves have been complex, what with medical underwriting, etc., etc. So um, but now I think that there are a lot of front runners in the insurance industry who are trying to do things differently, and the challenge here would be to ensure that we are where the customer wants us to be, and in a very relevant, simple, non-complex way, such that the customers themselves are able to consume the solutions directly at times, and even if it is assisted, it is still simple and digitally enabled. And once we have that, then I think the sheer muscle of the industry will ensure that the what I would call shiny pebbles, right? Oh, this looks exciting, so let's dabble with this. Customers are not willing to engage in any of that, because at the end of the day, it's their money, and they require it. They require the solutions from somebody they can trust, and somebody who's going to be around 20 years once the policies comes to fruition or their investment starts to bear fruit, right? So we have the so some of the evolving rapidly is controlled by the fact that there is some high level of trust and some bit of uh, scale that is needed for solutions in the financial sector to actually take root. And to that extent, I think the larger players will continue to dominate. But we definitely need the insurtech, fintech ecosystem to help us with the pieces that we don't do well. So that is the space that I and my team constantly look at to say where we can get help. But I don't think they will overtake the industry per se anytime in future.
Right. You actually mentioned a very important word here, that is ecosystem. I think that's going to be one of the major game changer for the industry, both in the banking space as well as the insurance space, and especially when it comes together and we're talking of such an innovative products like bank assurance. So, fantastic stuff. I have personally learned a lot, Sonali, on bank assurance, and I'm sure the listeners would going to be massively benefited from this as well. And thank you very much for this fantastic discussion. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, and it was a true delight to have you as our guest.
Thank you for having me, Surya, and it was a pleasure talking to you as well. Thank you for the opportunity. Take care.
And lastly, to wrap this up, thank you for listening, and see you at our next episode. Take care and stay safe. Goodbye for now.